Charli Baltimore just cracked open hip-hop's darkest secret, and you're hearing it in real time. Imagine Biggie pacing a dim hotel hallway at 3 a.m., voice low but urgent, telling Charli he's days away from ripping a $62 million contract out of Bad Boy's hands and building a new empire with Charli, Cameron, Lil Kim, and the whole Junior M.A.F.I.A crew. He isn't bragging, he's scared. He whispers that Diddy and Faith Evans already sense the escape plan and have eyes everywhere. Minutes later, he says a line that keeps Charli awake 27 years later. If anything happens, remember who kept me here. That warning turned into prophecy. Now, with Charli Baltimore's latest news roaring across every feed, she's spelling out the details Biggie only dared to mutter in private. Money, betrayal, and murder are tangled in one story. And tonight, we're slicing straight through the knots. Ready to find out who cashed the biggest check when bullets stopped Biggie's heartbeat? Stick around, because in the next few minutes you'll learn why that secret $62 million promise, Charli's Hush Hush Diaries, and a chain of dirty favors could topple hip-hop's most celebrated mogul. Back in 1995, Biggie met Charli Baltimore at an industry party neither of them even wanted to attend, and the collision changed music history overnight. She had bright orange hair, a legal studies degree, and a notebook full of aggressive punchlines. He had platinum dreams and a feeling she could sharpen them. The very next day, she left a 16-bar verse on his voicemail, rhyming law terms with Brooklyn slang. So clean that Biggie replayed the tape for anyone who would listen. He called her back, laughing, and told her point blank that she was wasting time studying briefs when she should be writing bars. That playful dare became a bond. Within weeks, Charli Baltimore was riding tour buses, scribbling hooks on napkins, and plotting a joint future with the man everyone already called the King of New York. Biggie didn't see her as a side act. He saw her as a secret weapon. He promised that when the dust settled, they would launch a supergroup called The Commission with Jay-Z, corner the charts, and split the fortune equally. For a moment, the dream felt bulletproof. They swapped notebooks, finished each other's punchlines, and talked for hours about owning publishing, so their kids would never chase advances. Then the paradise cracked. Biggie cheated, often and carelessly. Charli once walked into a hotel room and found explicit Polaroids of other women scattered across the bed like confetti. In a rage, she trashed the place, smashed the television, and hurled his $40,000 Jesus piece into the resort pool. Biggie laughed it off in public, but privately he begged her to stay. He said she was the only person who understood both his hunger and his fear, because yes, fear was creeping in. While tabloids printed stories about rap beefs and coastal wars, Biggie confided something far more personal. He wanted out of Bad Boy Records. He'd been offered a $62 million contract by an outside investor who promised full ownership of masters and create control for everyone he brought along. Charli Baltimore, Cameron, Lil Kim, Junior M.A.F.I.A, the whole squad. That kind of money could rewrite power in the industry overnight, and Biggie knew it. But with every conversation about freedom, he grew more paranoid. He noticed cars tailing him, phone clicks in the middle of late-night calls, and unannounced studio security checks that felt less like protection and more like surveillance. He told Charli Baltimore that he felt boxed and maybe even hunted. She told him to move quietly, sign the papers, and disappear before anyone could react. Instead, released schedules, promo tours, and Diddy's demands kept dragging him back. The tension reached its peak when Faith Evans announced she was pregnant with Biggie's child. News delivered to Charli not by Biggie, but by his own mother during a hallway conversation meant to calm chaos. Yet even that betrayal didn't erase trust. Biggie still handed Charli the draft contract, still whispered that he would not die tied to another man's label. Those conversations are the backbone of Charli Baltimore's latest news. And every word rings louder now that court dates are circling Diddy like vultures. Here's where the plot turns lethal. By early 1997, Biggie had the unsigned $62 million contract folded in a leather folder he carried everywhere: studio, video shoots, even restaurants. He showed it to Lil Cease in the back of a limo and joked that the paper inside was worth more than the car. He showed it to Charli Baltimore in the Chicago hotel and promised her first solo project would drop inside 12 months. He even flashed it to Cameron while they argued playfully about who would get the hottest single on the new label's debut compilation. Each reveal tightened the noose because the contract made one fact impossible to ignore: Diddy would lose everything if his star attraction walked out. Bad Boys still owned club play, magazine covers, and MTV slots, but the success depended on Biggie's storytelling and street credibility. Without him, the shiny suit era would pop and vanish like a soap bubble. Biggie understood the stakes. That's why he began documenting every expense, every royalty discrepancy, every promise of back-end points that never materialized. If anyone tried to smear him after the split, he wanted receipts. Charli Baltimore sat with him on those late nights, helping highlight figures and typing notes on a battered IBM ThinkPad. What they found was staggering: unpaid international sync fees, secret management percentages funneled into shell companies, and a radio promotion budget that dwarfed artist development 9-to-1. Biggie tallied the losses at roughly $8 million. He muttered that theft was one thing, but disrespect was worse. On March 6, 1997, 2 days before the Soul Train Awards, he told Charli Baltimore he felt like he was living inside someone else's maze. He wanted to go public, exposed the ledger, and announced a new deal on national television. She begged him to wait until contracts were countersigned. He agreed, then added the line that has become headline gold in every Charli Baltimore scandal update since. "If Diddy can't own me, nobody will." Those words weren't paranoia. They were prophecies. Los Angeles, March 8th. The atmosphere around the Peterson Automotive Museum after-party was already strange. Crowds too thick, security shifts unscheduled, and phone calls rerouted to new numbers. Biggie rolled up in a green Chevy Suburban, laughing, but Charli Baltimore later said she saw tension in his jaw. Inside, he chatted with Faith Evans for less than a minute, posed for photos, and tried to keep the evening casual. Outside, LAPD officers moonlighting as private security argued over their posts. At 12:45 a.m., Biggie slipped into the passenger seat of the SUV. The stoplight flashed green, a black Impala eased the driver's side window, and 4.9mm rounds tore through the door. Witness accounts matched, yet no arrest followed. In the first week after the shooting, two things happened that now sit at the heart of Charli Baltimore's latest news. First, Diddy grabbed a scheduled Rolling Stone cover that was supposed to celebrate life after death and replaced Biggie's photo with his own. Second, Faith Evans went on Hot 97 to insist no internal betrayal existed and asked fans to rally behind Bad Boy at a vigil. Charli Baltimore attended that vigil, but she stayed back, silent, studying faces. She later wrote in her journal that every time Diddy spoke, he smiled like a politician sealing a deal. Fast forward to 2000. Rolling Stone dedicated 6 months to dissecting Diddy's finances. Their report confirmed everything Biggie tracked: missing royalties, inflated marketing charges, and contract clauses that cut artists out of international revenue. The magazine quoted former Bad Boy president Kurt Burrows, saying Diddy was jealous of Biggie's chemistry with Tupac and pushed the East Coast versus West Coast narrative because controversy sold more records. When the article hit stands, Charli Baltimore drove to a Barnes & Noble, bought 10 copies, and highlighted every passage that aligned with her memories. Now, jump to 2025. Federal agents are combing through Diddy's business empire under a broad racketeering probe connected to alleged witness tampering and wire fraud. The moment that news broke, Charli Baltimore released a 10-minute video titled The Contract, reading Biggie's escape deal out loud. Overnight, Charli Baltimore scandal update became the #1 trending tag on hip-hop Twitter, pulling millions into a thread that links the 1997 murder, the missing $62 million, and a paper trail of shell corporations stretching from Nassau to Delaware. Streaming services spiked plays of MO Money, MO Problems, but the comment under the track flipped from nostalgia to suspicion. Let's drill into the blow-by-blow aftermath, because every entry strengthens the argument that Biggie's death served corporate profit. Day 3 after the shooting, Bad Boy staff received an email blast requiring them to push life after death pre-orders with the line, "This legacy will change us forever." Day 5, Diddy closed a 7-figure deal with Pepsi to feature his tribute single, "I'll Be Missing You," in a global summer ad campaign. Day 10, Faith Evans signed a merchandising agreement for commemorative shirts using Biggie's face, with 60% of revenue flowing to a Bad Boy subsidiary. Each deal posted record numbers, and each contract cited Biggie's passing as a cultural moment in the memo subject line. But corporate deals are just paperwork until you see the human fallout. Valletta Wallace, Biggie's mother, released her autobiography in 2005 and detailed how Diddy allegedly handed her only one royalty check, a single $25,000 payment, despite albums hitting diamond status. She called it exploitation, not partnership, and pointed a finger at LAPD corruption for the Stall case. Those claims faded in mainstream media, but Charli Baltimore never stopped repeating them in every Charli Baltimore's latest news interview she granted. Enter Detective Russell Poole, the former LAPD officer who linked Biggie's murder to rogue cops moonlighting for death row records. Poole died of a heart attack in 2015 while presenting evidence to the LA Sheriff's Department. Charli Baltimore kept his files. She digitized witness statements, ballistic trajectories, and internal memos that trace a cash flow from Bad Boy tour accounts to police officers found at the party that night. Those files are the backbone of every current Charli Baltimore scandal update, circling YouTube explainers. Skeptics ask why Charli waited so long. Her answer is brutal. She feared the same fate. After Poole's death, she began receiving anonymous texts that quoted Biggie's last album cuts. Her tires were slashed twice in 2016. Studio bookings vanished. Labels told her they loved her voice but couldn't risk certain alliances. Then came 2024, when Diddy's former producer Rashad "LV" Henderson sued for unpaid royalties and leaked internal emails that show Bad Boy executives joking about owning souls, not songs. That lawsuit cracked the silence. Charli Baltimore saw momentum swinging and decided the safest place was the spotlight. So she stepped out with receipts, timelines, and a literal contract Biggie folded in his pocket the week he died. The impact has been seismic. Hip-hop forums are running 20-page threads analyzing the signature on the contract and comparing it to other verified Biggie docs. Billboard ran a front-page feature titled $62 million Ghost Deal, the document that could end Bad Boy. Atlantic Records executives were photographed leaving an unannounced meeting in Midtown, reportedly to discuss catalog clawbacks if the racketeering case sticks. Meanwhile, Charli Baltimore's latest news keeps feeding the blaze. Each new clip she posts includes screenshots of bank wires, backstage passes with suspicious security codes, or forgotten voicemail snippets where Biggie grumbles about playing guard dog for a man who only guards his money. One more piece glues the puzzle together: travel records. Public record sleuths pull flight manifests, showing that Faith Evans boarded a jet to Los Angeles 2 days before the shooting, even though she was scheduled to record in New Jersey. She later claimed she went for a last-minute writing camp, but studio logs show the session was canceled. Charli Baltimore put that itinerary on blast, and every Charli Baltimore scandal update since his question-faced timeline. The narrative that emerges is simple, deadly, and Loctite. Biggie tried to exit with his publishing, his friends, and an unheard-of fortune. The label couldn't afford to let him leave. Power protected power, and a young father never made it back to Brooklyn. That's not rumor. That's what the paperwork, the money trails, and the surviving witness all agree on. And Charli Baltimore wasn't just a bystander. She was a confidant who heard the fear, held a contract, and watched the empire cash in on his silence. Fans aren't the only ones talking. Rap legends are lining up on podcasts to weigh in, and their takes are anything but polite. Nas stated flatly that he always felt something about those contracts was off, and praised Charli Baltimore for blowing the whistle. Lil Kim, after years of public silence, broke down crying on Instagram Live when someone asked if the $62 million figure was real. She nodded yes, then ended the stream. Questlove pulled out a vintage magazine on The Tonight Show and pointed to the cover where Diddy stood in Biggie's place. This ain't homage, this is hijacking. Meanwhile, Diddy posted a 3-minute video denying all wrongdoing, but viewers noticed his eyes darting off camera every few seconds, as if reading a legal script. Comments roasted him, stamping the clip with a new meme label, "Bad Boy Panic Cam." Journalists are adding fuel. Rolling Stone deputy editor Lisa Brubaker tweeted that her team is reopening their 2000 investigation and encourages anyone with paperwork to hit her encrypted inbox. Complex ran a headline, $62 million in a murder, inside the deal that might sink Sean Combs, and included a poll asking readers whether Diddy should face criminal charges. 84% clicked yes. Local news in Brooklyn showed murals of Biggie with fresh spray paint that reads "Freedom Stolen," and tourists are snapping photos next to them like pilgrimage badges. Then there's the family impact. Valletta Wallace told a morning show host that she finally feels hope because the world is catching up to what my son tried to escape. She praised Charli by name, saying no one else had the courage to publish the contract word for word. Biggie's daughter Tiana tweeted, "Imagine losing your dad and being told to stay quiet because music politics are bigger than grief." That message racked up 500,000 likes in 4 hours. But every major reaction keeps circling back to the same flashing headline: Charli Baltimore scandal update. Each new drop threads video snippets with document scans, so viewers can pause and inspect seals, timestamps, and routing numbers. The format is addictive, 30-second bursts of information that end with a stinger question like, "Who really banked those Pepsi checks?" Viewers flood the comments trying to solve the puzzle before the next post hits. Podcasters dissect each clue, and teachers report students whispering about publishing deals in high school hallways. Hip-hop has become a true crime classroom, and Charli Baltimore's notebook is a textbook. Even lawmakers are listening. A New York City council member called for a commemorative day honoring artists who die in suspicious industry circumstances, citing Biggie as Exhibit A. The proposal gained traction after a /Justice for Budget users spammed council inboxes with scanned pages of the $62 million draft. Think tank commentators predict that if the investigation proves industry foul play, new legislation could force labels to publish royalty statements in real time. Suddenly, a decades-old tragedy looks poised to reshape entertainment law. And the catalyst behind that title shift is a single woman refusing to stay silent. Hidden detail number 1. Biggie's handwritten track list for the planned commission album survives. Charli Baltimore keeps it laminated in a fireproof safe. Each song title includes a tiny skull icon next to guest verses, Biggie's playful way of marking who killed a beat. Jay-Z's name appears 4 times with triple skulls, a fact he has never denied. Hidden detail 2. The $62 million contract isn't the only paper tying Biggie to a new label. A separate merchandising agreement lists sneaker prototypes featuring Biggie's silhouette. The sneaker mold later popped up rebranded in a limited edition Bad Boy release that sold out in minutes. Designers say the mold could only exist if someone lifted the prototype from Biggie's files after his death. Fun fact 3. Charli Baltimore owns the answer machine cassette that holds Biggie's final voicemail to her. The tape has never been digitized, but technicians confirm the magnetic strip is intact. She plans to play the message publicly if the upcoming RICO trial reaches a testimony phase. Lawyers are already drafting a chain of custody protocol, so the recording qualifies as courtroom evidence. Hidden detail 4. Security footage from the Peterson Automotive Museum was recorded over within 24 hours, but a second-floor restaurant kept its own archive. Charli Baltimore hired a private investigator in 2004 who recovered a partial copy showing an LAPD officer leaving the building 7 minutes before the shooting, carrying an earpiece identical to ones issued to Bad Boy tour staff. Fun Fact 5. During the Soul Train Awards weekend, Biggie paid cash for a safe deposit box at a downtown Los Angeles bank. The bank closed in 2008, and records list the box as abandoned. Court petitions are in motion to pry it open. Rumor says it contains lyric notebooks and a VHS tape labeled Exit Plan. Charli Baltimore jokes that if it's just Biggie's video game collection, she'll still frame the receipt. Hidden Detail 6. The ThinkPad Charli used for spreadsheets still boots. Its desktop background is a Photoshop mashup of dollar bills raining over the Brooklyn Bridge, a personal joke Biggie made after promising to buy her a brownstone once the new deal cleared. She says she'll auction a laptop and donate proceeds to scholarships for young songwriters from Brooklyn. Fun Fact 7. The Suburban Biggie rode in that night was later resold at a police auction and repainted baby blue. The current owner only discovered its history after checking the VIN. He has since joined the r/Justice for BIG community and offers mechanical insights whenever forensic experts debate bullet trajectories. All these nuggets show how threads once scattered across storage units, closed banks, and forgotten laptops now weave a tapestry of proof. And at the center of that tapestry stands Charli Baltimore, cataloging every receipt so history stops lying. She laughs at the term conspiracy theory because, in her own words, nothing about numbers and signatures is theory, it's arithmetic. That one-liner has already become a hashtag printed on streetwear, with proceeds funding an independent documentary set for release next spring. So what do you see now that the fog is lifted? A frightened genius, a $62 million escape route, and an industry that cashes life like a check. Do you believe Charli Baltimore was the only one brave enough to protect the evidence? Or do you think others are still hiding pieces? Should Diddy face a courtroom soundtrack of Biggie's unreleased tracks playing while financial records flash on the screen? Tell us below. Hit like if you agree that loyalty should never end in gunfire. Slam subscribe if you want front row seats when new affidavits drop. And share this story with anyone still spinning. I'll be missing you without knowing who really profited from the morning. The algorithm loves receipts, and we've got closets full. Next episode, we're digging into unreleased studio tapes that prove Biggie predicted his chart position 3 years in advance. So turn on notifications now, because a house of cards hasn't finished falling. And remember, every comment you leave becomes part of the public ledger that keeps this narrative alive. Your voice is evidence. Your curiosity is fuel. And together we can finish the math Biggie started. Justice isn't retro. It's right now. So let's count these numbers out loud.